What's going on, y'all? It's your man Pristine back with another video. Welcome to the Pristine review for the new Nokia 6. Now, I gotta say, welcome back to Nokia. You know, they were on the map for a long time back in the day. They were the cream of the crop. You know, they got involved with Microsoft and they made some really good Nokia devices for the Windows 10 platform, which ended up not shaking out so well. Nokia was basically sold to a company called HMD. And they are now who are producing Nokia devices. But according to sources in which I've read, HMD has a lot of original Nokia players within its organization. So it looks as though, you know, a lot of the quality Nokia products that we are used to seeing, we're going to continue to see just within an Android based platform, which is cool to see. So again, here we've got the Nokia 6 specs. We've got a 5.5 full HD 1080p display. We've got Android 7.1.1 Nougat fresh out of the box, which is solid. We've got amazing build quality. We've got 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of onboard storage. We've got a 16 megapixel rear camera, 8 megapixel front facing camera, and we've got a non-removable 3000 milliamp hour battery, which is powering this bad boy. Now we've got a pixel density of 403 PPI for all the techies out there, and we are running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 435 processor with a 1.4 gigahertz octa-core chip. Now, this is an interesting device. I mean, it's a really hot commodity right now. It seems to be doing really well. A lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are talking about it. And of course, you know, with a lot of people talking about devices, I mean, you get a lot of good and you get a lot of bad. Now, I know a lot of people, one of the main things that people have been slamming this device for is the fact that it came housed with a Snapdragon 430 processor. A lot of people felt like this particular device should have had a Snapdragon 625 processor with an additional gig of RAM. So, you know, rather than the 3 gigs of RAM and the Snapdragon 430, people would have liked to have seen Snapdragon 625 with 4 gigs of RAM, which obviously would have made this device a much smoother device. Not to say that it's terrible now, but with the 3 gigs of RAM coupled with the Snapdragon 430 processor, I mean, you do experience a little bit of lagginess from time to time, a little bit of choppiness. And you know, it can get a little annoying, you know, at times. I mean, it in my experience, I mean, it's not something that happened all the time, but it is noticeable. And then with the lesser of the processors, you also run into you know, when you start doing heavier tasks with this particular device, you will definitely notice a difference as far as how fluid things are. Or how fluid things aren't, you know, when you start to really hone in on, you know, the processor capabilities and the RAM management and things of that nature. You know, those things really become noticeable the more, you know, depending on what you're doing with this device. You know, scrolling through apps, opening apps and things of that nature, that stuff's a breeze. I mean, it's buttery smooth. But, you know, when you're talking about, you know, trying to, you know, multitask, or if you've got tons of apps open at the same time or running in the background while you're trying to do certain things, that's where you're going to notice a lot of that lagginess. A lot of the most graphically intense games, you know, you may be able to play them, but you're talking about extremely long loading times, choppiness, you know, frame rate issues. Things just aren't going to be as smooth and fluid as you would like to see them be. So a lot of those types of experiences, you know, you're probably not going to get until you get your hands on the Nokia 8, which this is a Nokia device that is in the works. And this is supposed to be Nokia's, you know, this is the big boy. You know, they're bringing out the big guns, you know, with the Nokia 8. You know, this is supposed to, you know, have the quad HD display, you know, big cameras, Snapdragon 835 processor, 4 to 6 gigs of RAM. That's going to be coming really soon, and that's they're going to be putting that out to obviously rival the S8 and the S8 Plus, and the HTC U11s and the Sony Exit Premiums, and all the phones that's got all these top end specs right now in 2017. So look forward to that on the channel. But again, right now we're focused on the Nokia 6. So again, I just broke down a little bit of the specs and what this phone is housing. Now, the build quality, I must say that the build quality on this phone is absolutely phenomenal. And there's tons of people that are raving about the overall build quality, and I'm actually on the bandwagon with that. I mean, this thing is built like a goddamn tank. Which is a good thing. I mean, if you invest in a cell phone, I mean, you want it to be durable. I mean, nobody's perfect. I mean, we are, susceptible to drops and things of that nature. And you want to know that, I mean, if you drop your device, if you like to rock it buck and naked, that, you still can have a sense of security and some reassurance that due to the build quality, I mean, your phone is still going to be functioning, after it takes that fall and hits the concrete. Now, this is a full aluminum body. This is the matte black color. The build quality is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, now, let's see, I've got my little cheat sheet right here because I saw that there are different color variations that you can get this in, which when I purchased it off of Amazon, I was only given one option, which is the matte black right here. And this is both a GSM unlocked and CDMA unlocked device. It does rock dual nano SIMs. You can get this in art black, matte black, tempered blue, and silver copper. So again, this is the matte black. Those of you that follow me on my channel, you already know, man. Say it with me. All black everything. No racist. You know what I'm saying? Matte black Nokia 6 right here. But yeah, I mean, you see the beautiful aluminum finish. You've got the Nokia branding right here. This is where our 16 megapixel camera is with the dual tone LED flash. And you can see there's a slight hump on the back. I mean, nothing that protrudes too much, but definitely you want to get a case for this device if you're rocking with it, because, when you set your phone down, you don't want it sitting on the camera lens. You don't want to scratch or scuff that up because it's just really going to ruin the camera performance. And then, it's just beautifully made. I mean, we've got this silver trim all around the phone. Now we've got the antenna line here on the sides. Very non-intrusive antenna lines. To the right of the device, I mean, you see here, we've got the power button and the volume rockers. Now, some people have been complaining about how these don't protrude as much. Now, me, I'm a big fan of that. I like that. Like, if you could see that in the light right there, you see there's the power button right there and the volume rockers right there. Now, if you take a look at the right side of the phone, I mean, they don't stick out that much. Now, to me, that's not a problem. But I mean, one of the arguments has been, oh, well, the buttons, they don't protrude, as much as they should. So, people have a hard time, pressing the buttons and, distinguishing where the buttons are. And I can understand that. I can totally understand that. But I mean, it doesn't take long to really feel where the buttons are. Typically, with this particular setup, I'm a fan of the fact that, for one, the buttons are all on the right side of the device. So yeah, it doesn't take much to get used to. I mean, obviously, the power button is going to be right there where your thumb sits if you depending on how you hold this phone. Me, I'm a lefty, but I hold all my phones in my right hand. I'm pretty ambidextrous. And, the phone, it feels really good in the hand. Again, it's a 5.5 inch display. Just real quick, I mean, we've got 5.5 inch display. Now there is a little bit of a forehead and a chin down here. Now on the bottom here is where we've got our, our fingerprint sensor and our home button right there. Double tap on that. You see we've got our touch capacitive buttons that are right there that light up. Now you cannot change the orientation. Some may be bothered about that. Me, I don't care. I adapt to my surroundings. It is what it is. Some phones, they give you that capability, others they don't. It is what it is. But I do like the fact that, we do have a fingerprint sensor that is extremely responsive. I mean, now again, this is the Amazon, this is the ad version. And so rather than doing your fingerprint once to unlock it, when you hit your fingerprint once, then it brings up the lock screen where you are going to experience your notifications. And then here's a little ad right there, as I mentioned in the unboxing video. If you want to get rid of that ad, you can just swipe it away. And then if you want to fully unlock the device, then you just go ahead and tap it again. And you see just like that, I mean, the phone just unlocks with no problems whatsoever. Okay. Now, the screen quality, I mean, the screen is absolutely beautiful in this particular device. Again, we've got the Android 7.1.1 setup. I mean, as you can see where my brightness is set, it's about halfway. That's about 45 or 50% brightness. I'm not exactly sure what the total amount of nits that this phone reaches when it comes to the brightness, but I found in my experience, you don't need to have this phone up brighter than where it's at right now, which is at midpoint. It looks really good with the all black wallpaper that I've got set up on here, and that also consumes battery life. But if you are rocking a colorful wallpaper, I mean, it does produce colors, quite naturally and beautifully. So the screen on this phone is solid. Like I said, this is the ad version. I mean, so I got it from Amazon at $179.99 plus taxes. It was like $197.28. So I just paid just shy of $200. And again, you're getting a 5.5-inch display, full HD, fingerprint sensor, 8 megapixel front facing camera, 16 megapixel rear facing camera. The phone does come with NFC. I mean, so if you'd like to transfer data wirelessly, or if you want to use Android Pay, you do have the ability to do that. That's a pretty nice offering right there. A lot of phones in this particular price point, they're not coming packaged with everything like the Nokia 6 is right here. So I really feel like, a lot of the gripes that people have had has just been with the sluggish performance from time to time. Again, it's not all the time. You can see, I'm scrolling back and forth to apps with no problem. Now we are running the Pixel launcher. And so you see scrolling up and down from apps. Just no problem whatsoever. Okay. So we'll go to Google. We'll just open up some stuff. Now I'm connected to my Wi-Fi right now. So just give you guys a heads up with that. We'll open up Chrome just to kind of give you guys an idea of just how snappy this processor performs. I mean, again, the 430, it's not a bad processor. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. It's definitely manageable. And it just depends on the person. A lot of people don't need the latest and the greatest. These types of processors seem to do just fine, according to a lot of people. Now some people, they want that 835 or the 821 or a Snapdragon 820 with 4 to 6 gigs of RAM. They want, just to have the ability to touch an app and it just open instantaneously, as opposed to, having to wait a second or two, But again, I mean, you see this, I mean, this is the Snapdragon, 430 processor, and you see it's handling things just fine. Things are opening up nice and snappy. There's not, real long load times for apps to open up. Now, again, like I said, I mean, when you start getting into those more graphically intense games, trying to open those up, then you may have to wait a while for those things to open up. But I mean, just normal apps that you would use on a day-to-day basis, I mean, this is going to do you just fine, So, open up a few more here. I'm just in the Google suite right now. Okay, cancel that. No, don't want to try again. Let's get out of that. All right, Google Keep. Okay. And this is our wallpaper. Okay, so you guys get the idea, just opening up some apps, and then what we'll do is we'll check the RAM management now that we've got some apps open up, so you'll see scrolling back and forth to those apps. Now let's see, let's go back to play movies. So it does have to load to reopen the page, as opposed to other phones that have higher processors. The phone, the application may still be up and running, and as soon as you tap it, it just goes right back to it. Let's go to play games. Okay, so that just, popped right back open. And we'll go ahead and go home. So just a quick performance test. I mean, so, it just depends on who you are. if you want a decent phone that's very well priced, gonna do all the things that you needed to do, decent cameras. I mean, you can't. This will be hard to overlook. Again, I said this is the Amazon version. The apps, they're not all that intrusive. I mean, you can swipe them away and get rid of them. I don't find them to be a big deal at all. So we went over the specs, went over the build, went over a little bit of the performance here, just to give you guys a taste of what it's actually like to use the phone. Now I want to get into the cameras. Now, again, as I mentioned, we've got an 8 megapixel selfie camera and we've got a 16 megapixel camera on the rear. And I found in my experience, the cameras, they're decent. I've had some really heavy hitters. I mean, when it comes to cameras, I mean, the Sony XZ Premium, I mean, that has a phenomenal camera on it. The Asus Zenfone 3 Zoom, I mean, I've taken some unbelievable photos, with that, with that camera on that device. I've got my Mate 9 right here, which, this just takes some stunning photos. I mean, they've got those dual Leica lens cameras on the back, and oh man, I mean, you're just talking about some photographs that are just absolutely gorgeous. Even the iPad Pro takes some pretty stunning photos. The Alcatel Idol 5S right here. I mean, the Idol 5S, I mean, not to say that I was looking for it to come up short with the cameras, but the cameras on that phone are surprisingly better than I thought they were gonna be. You've got a 12 megapixel shooter on the rear, 8 megapixel selfie camera on that one, and I mean it takes some really good photos. And so it's got some pretty stiff competition, I'm saying, that it's going up against as far as overall camera quality. But given the price point, the photos taken with this particular phone are not bad at all. I mean, they're not the worst, but they're definitely not the best. And so to give you guys an idea of exactly what I'm talking about, of course, I'm just going to, stop right now for a second. I've uploaded some still shots and some video footage, from the camera from the Nokia 6. So you guys go ahead and check this out, and I'll be right back with you. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Pristine here. So now I'm doing a quick video with the front-facing camera of the Nokia 6 here. Now this is an 8 megapixel shooter, no optical image stabilization, but that's okay. Why? Because I typically don't have shaky hands, and so I have the ability to hold this phone nice and steady as I'm walking. You can tell I'm moving around, as you can see things moving and getting further behind me in the background. But this is a solid front-facing camera on the Nokia 6. I think most of you will be pleased with it, especially considering the price point. This is the Amazon version of this device, so I paid $179 with the taxes. It was like $197.28, just shy of $200. Not bad at all. You know what I'm saying? Not bad at all. This phone is it's a hot commodity right now. A lot of people are really feeling this phone. It's a good device. I mean, I feel like there's certain things that are still to be desired, but you can't have it all. I mean, this wasn't meant to be a flagship. It is what it is. But overall, in my personal opinion, I think that there's a lot more things to like about this phone than not. So, again, this is the 8 megapixel selfie cam. We do have a few different camera modes, for the selfies. You've got the beautification mode and all that kind of thing. You've definitely got some toggles to kind of, toggle the resolution and things to really get that image that you want, that quality that you want. But overall, I mean, typically I don't really mess with those things. I just point and shoot. That's all I do. I just point and shoot. So this is pretty nice. It's pretty decent. 8 megapixel selfie cam of the Nokia 6. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and I'll get back at you. Peace. What's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine, back with another video sample from the Nokia 6. Now, I'm down here at the park, not too far from the house. Beautiful day here in Seattle, about 90 degrees out here. It's hot as hell. But yeah, I just want to do a video real quick just to give you guys a quick idea of what the video quality is like here on the Nokia 6. Now, we've got a 16 megapixel rear facing camera, 8 megapixel selfie camera. And again, this is more so one of the, it's a budget device. I mean, so you can't expect all the bells and whistles, so, we've got a camera here, we don't have optical image stabilization or anything like that. But I mean, the camera's still decent. You don't have a wide array of options like you normally would on some of like the, more top tier mid-rangers or even flagship devices. But I mean, it's definitely doable. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they don't need those things. You know what I mean? They just want something that's decently priced, that has most of the functionality and capabilities that they're going to want in a phone. And I think that this definitely has that. I mean, most people, would be pretty pleased with this camera. You know what I mean? So again, here I am at the park. I mean, just, good overall clarity. I mean, the colors looks true to life. I mean, if you take a look at the sky, look at the trees in the back line, look at my car, look at the houses in the background, the trees up there. I mean, it's a good camera. It's not a bad camera at all whatsoever. Again, we've got the Seahawk painted big toy right here. If you take a look at the blues and the greens, I mean, they look really good. Looking down at the bark, everything is nice and detailed. Now again, I mentioned the phone does not have optical image stabilization, so let me go ahead and hop down. I've been walking kind of gingerly, but I'll just go ahead and get my stroll on real quick. And I'm holding the camera steady. I typically don't have shaky hands or anything like that. I mean, so although optical image stabilization would help, I mean, it's not really a necessity unless you've got like really shaky, unsteady hands. I mean, that's where optical image stabilization really, really comes to play, just to give that video just that smooth feel to it. If you're not, if you're jittery or you have shaky hands. So this is the rear-facing 16 megapixel camera on the Nokia 6. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comments, okay? I'll reverse the camera and do a quick video with the front-facing 8 megapixel camera. Let me know what you guys think about that as well. All right. All right, y'all, this is your man Pristine back in. So I hope you guys enjoyed, the photos and the video footage that was captured with the Nokia 6 here. Just to give you guys a bit of an understanding of, what it's like, to use the camera and, video footage on the Nokia 6 here. Like I said, I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. It's doable. It's doable, especially for a phone in this particular price point. It's not that bad. Okay. Now, moving along to the battery life. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, we've got a 3,000 milliamp hour non-removable battery. Now, some have also said, well, why 3,000? How come they couldn't go like 32 or 33? When these phones are being made, when they're being manufactured, I mean, we don't know, what goes behind the rationale as to why these manufacturers decide to use this or that. It just, it is what it is. I mean, it's up to us, the end user, to, use the product and, like it, dislike it, whatever, you know what I mean? But, to question why they didn't put a different type of battery in it. I mean, obviously, the 3,000 milliamps is something that they felt was suitable for this particular package. It is what it is. And really, I mean, the battery life just boils down to your overall usage. I mean, as I've said in a lot of other videos, how do you manage your usage? I mean, how do you use your battery? I mean, are you somebody that constantly runs around with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and GPS and auto sync, constantly syncing your emails every time you get an email every 2 seconds? I mean, those things are going to fry your battery. I mean, so of course, if you're one of those types of individuals, you're never going to be able to sustain good battery life, and you're going to have to walk around with the charger everywhere you go just to charge up. Now, speaking of charger, the good thing that now this is a gift and a curse, okay? But one of the good things about charging with this particular device is, and this is depending on who you ask, right? But this phone unfortunately does not have Type-C connectivity, so it has the old school USB 2.0, which I'm sure a lot of people still have those laying around, so they're not hard to come by. So typically if you need a charge, I mean, you could probably get a charge. I mean, a lot of people haven't, like I know even the hospital where I work at, we've got charging stations. All right, my bad, y'all. We back in effect, man. I got distracted, had to go take care of something. But yeah, we back in. So I was talking about the battery, and I was talking about battery optimization. Now there is battery optimization functionality that is on the Nokia 6 here. But again, I was just simply talking about just ways that you can naturally optimize the battery, because as I mentioned, there's been some people that's been griping over the fact that the phone only has a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, which to me that's decent. You know what I mean? This battery gets me through a day with no problems whatsoever. The week and a half, close to 2 weeks that I used it as my daily driver. I mean, it was just dependent on usage. I mean, some days, I would have to plug it in at night, but it would easily get me through a full day. Like I was never sweating like, oh my God, my battery's going to die. But yeah, there were some nights where I would have to put it on the charger. Others, I mean, I still had maybe, 40, close to 50%, and I just let it go all the way over until the next day and just drain it, So typically, I won't charge. I try to let the battery go all the way down at least to within 15%, which is when I have my battery saving optimization turn on. But again, as I was mentioning, this unfortunately does not have a Type-C connector. It has a USB 2.0 old school connector for charging. Now it does support a fast charging technology, but it isn't Type-C. It isn't that future proofing that we're used to seeing with a lot of the mid-range and flagship devices that are coming out here in 2017. Now, I guess the only good thing about that is we've all got those USB 2.0 connectors lying around. I've got tons of those things, so, like I was saying, like even at the hospital where I work at, we've got charge stations, and it's either an iPhone charger, it's either a lightning charger or a USB 2.0. And, they haven't quite, implemented Type-C yet. So I believe Type-C connectivity is what we're going to see on the Nokia 8, which is going to be their major flagship device. But here on the Nokia 6, we are still rocking a USB 2.0, which does support quick charge. It charges from 0 to 100 in close to 60 minutes. So it's not that bad. It's pretty snappy, considering the fact that it's not Type-C. Actually, it may, I think if I remember correctly, to be exact, it's like a little over an hour, 0 to 100. So, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But again, I would recommend, definitely the functions and features that you're not using, like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, turn off auto sync, so that your emails aren't constantly syncing, unless you want those things on. But I mean, I'm just trying to give you guys some food for thought on how to optimize your battery and really, make it through the day without, feeling like your battery is going to die, unless you're just a heavy user. I mean, if you're, watching, streaming YouTube videos and watching Netflix movies and playing hardcore games or just playing games, period. I mean, those are the things that are going to drain your battery. But I mean, for individuals like myself who, I talk on the phone, I text, I don't check my email on my phone. I'm always, near a computer or a tablet where I can do that, whether it be at home or at work. If I'm, not at either one of those places, when it comes to emails, typically it can wait until I get home to my computer or my tablet. But every now and then, I'll stream a video or two on YouTube. I respond to you guys when you guys send me messages on Google Plus or just on YouTube. They come to my phone just like a text message would come through, and so I'm responding and talking back and forth with you guys. That's pretty much all I do. You know what I mean? So it's pretty easy for me to, sustain battery life throughout the day, even with some of the heavier use. I mean, when I say heavy use for me doesn't mean, downloading and streaming. Heavy use for me is just, talking on the phone or, texting, whether it be with, friends or, with you guys, my subscribers, on a much more frequent basis, So it's easy for me to sustain battery. But if for you guys out there that are, just loading files, hundreds of pictures and videos and watching Netflix and Hulu and streaming video footage on YouTube and all that kind of thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter what phone you have. I mean, you're gonna run through your battery, you know. So I'd have to say that the battery on this phone is decent. You know what I mean? It's easily getting me through a day, through a full day. Not once have I had a situation where I felt like I was going to run out and I was going to be screwed for the rest of the day. So yeah, the battery life is solid on this phone. All right. So moving along to additional features. Now, I do like the fact that this phone, it has dual speakers. So we've got a speaker here in the receiver, and we've got a bottom firing speaker here. And the speakers, they sound really good. I mean, they sound nice and rich, nice and clear. This phone, it does have Dolby Atmos surround sound, which means that if you plug in, there is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack right here at the top of the device. I mean, so if you plug in, I mean, you do have some ability to really customize the sound and really get some huge sound from pretty much whatever headphones that you plug in. If there's some of the top notch, hundreds of dollars, top of the line headphones, or if you just got some basic, simple, headphones just to kind of rock out to from time to time, not the best, but not the worst. I mean, you're going to be able to, customize the sound, and, it's basically going to upscale the sound for you. I noticed when I was in my car, a lot of times I connect my phone to Bluetooth in my car, and that's how I listen to music. I have a subscription to Spotify, and I stream music on Spotify as well. So that's really the only type of streaming that I do. But you go to the equalizer option, and it gives you the ability to turn on that Dolby sound, and oh man, I mean, it just makes a huge difference. I mean, you're talking about a difference in treble, clarity, bass. I mean, it just makes the sound so much better, so much richer. Oh man, I mean, riding around, bumping some cuts with this phone is an absolute joy. So I do like those features. Now, another interesting thing that I found with this phone has, you guys know with the iPhone, how like the iPhone, it has like 3D touch, where like if you touch an app, and it'll give you certain options as to what you may want to do with that app. So I found that with this phone, like say with the Best Buy app right here, if you touch it, well, no, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to move it. Let's go to a different app. Color Note. Okay, I don't want to go into it, but I know that certain apps, they kind of have like that 3D touch effect. Okay, let's go into the app drawer, and let's see if I can find an app where it will do it. Android Pay. So you see that, how it just kind of bring up your card information right there, and if you want to go into it, then you just tap on it, and boom, it brings up your card right there. As I mentioned, this phone does have NFC. I mean, so you can use Android Pay. That's a pretty dope little feature right there. I like that. Let's see what else. Let's go to Google. Okay, so you see that when I tap on Google, if I can get the camera to focus here, it says new incognito tab or new tab. And so, if I want to, search incognito, I just hit new incognito tab, and boom, it takes me to that. You've gone incognito, let's see, let's go to eBay. Let's see what eBay does. Okay. So if you go to eBay, you see it gives you the option. It says following, selling, watching, or search. So if I'm selling something, you know what I'm saying, I just click on selling, and it'll go right to eBay to, whatever I'm selling, and, let me know the status of that. So, it to me, that reminds me of like a 3D touch, type of feature. It's like you touch the app, or you long press on the app, and then it gives you little options, rather than actually just opening the app in its entirety. It gives you some options as to what you want to do, and you can pick and choose which feature or functionality you would like to go to within that particular app. Like, let's see Dropbox. Okay, so Dropbox doesn't allow me to do it. So I'm just going to remove that because I've already got that in a folder, but we'll go back to the app drawer, and let's see what else. All right, let's see what it does with Google Plus. Okay, well, no, Google Plus doesn't allow me to do it as well. So it's not with every app. It's only with certain apps. Let's see, let me go to calendar. Okay, so like with calendar right there, it says new reminder and new event. So if I want to, hit a new event, then I just click on that and it opens up the calendar app and it's going to take me to the part where I can, put in a new event, and I haven't calendar. I never use my Google Calendar, so it hasn't opened, but you see how snappy it opened up the application right there. So, the phone definitely has some pretty cool features. Let's see, let's take it to the settings because I believe, if I remember correctly, there are like some gestures and not a lot, but you've got some gestures and some motion capabilities with the phone. So to quickly open camera, press the power button twice, works from any screen. Yeah, so the power button, which is right here, click on that twice real quick. Boom, you'll feel the phone vibrate and it just takes you right to your camera. Here I am, FaceTime camera or selfie camera. I was thinking about an iPhone. And then with the motions, so you've got turn over to reject the call. So if your phone's ringing, you just turn the phone on its face and it'll reject the call. Mute on pickup. So if you want to mute the phone from ringing, you just pick it up. And then it gives you a tutorial how to use motions. So those are the only motions that you got, but those are some pretty solid little, little gestures and things that the phone comes packed with. Yeah, aside from those things, I'd have to say that this is a pretty decent package for the price. Again, on Amazon, this is the Amazon version. Now the regular version is going to cost you $229.99 on Amazon. This is the Amazon Prime version. So if you are a Prime member, you can buy this on Amazon for $179.99. With tax, it's going to cost you approximately $197.28. That's what I paid for. So just shy of $200 for the Amazon Prime version. And again, the only difference is you're just getting ads on your lock screen. So when I lock the screen, tap the fingerprint sensor once, all my notifications are going to pop up, but then you'll notice there's an Amazon ad right here. And so if you want to see what that ad is, you just tap on it and it just takes you to the ad. Or these are actually apps. It's suggesting apps. I don't know why it's doing that. But again, if you want to just, get rid of the ad, then you just simply swipe it to the left or right to get rid of it. And then you're just left with your notifications. And if you want to fully unlock the device, then you just tap the fingerprint sensor again and you're into the phone. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you for the Nokia 6 Pristine review. Again, for $179.99, if you're okay with the ad version, this is going to get you a full 1080p, 5.5-inch display, killer all metal unibody design. Again, this phone is built like a tank. It's going to get you Android 7.1.1, which is their latest software version of Android right out of the box. It's going to get you an 8 megapixel front facing camera, a 16 megapixel rear facing camera, dual speakers. You got the bottom firing speaker here, and you do have another speaker built in here in the earpiece. 3 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 430 processor, 403 PPI. Yeah. What else can I say? Solid device from Nokia here. Can I recommend this phone? Absolutely, because there's definitely a market for this particular phone. Not everybody's going to want the latest and the greatest processor. Not everybody's going to want all the bells and whistles. Some people, they want to break the bank. And, if you're one of those types of persons, you're just looking for a good quality smartphone that's going to do what you need it to do in a snappy fashion. It's built, the build quality is amazing. The build quality on this phone is definitely on par with some of the heavy hitters. I'd actually, I would take the build quality over of this phone over the S8 or the S8 Plus or the HTC U11, or, you know, not to say that I have anything against glass or anything like that, but I mean, again, it's glass. I mean, so they you know, you can use Corning Gorilla Glass 4 and 5, you know. Yeah, it's built to, you know, for durability, and it's built to stand the test of time. But yeah, you drop it from a great enough distance, and yeah, we're gonna see some test of time for you. You know, you drop this, chances are, you know, it's gonna make it through. You know, if not unscathed, maybe just a little scrape or a scuff here or there. But again, as I always say, respect the tech, respect your, you know, protect your investment. You know, if I pay $1,000 for a phone or $100 for a phone, I mean, I'm not going to treat the $100 phone any less. You know, it's going to go in a case and a screen protector. That's just how I operate. You know, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, but, you know, if you want some longevity out of your device, I mean, a lot of what brings forth longevity is how you take care of your device. So this is the Nokia 6, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked this video, if you found it informative in any way, shape, or form, please click that like button, hit that thumbs up, share it with friends or family or anybody that you may know of that may be looking for this particular device or something kind of similar to this. You know, you've got a lot of options in this particular price range. You know, I do want to welcome Nokia back into the game. They were down for a little bit, but it seems like they're making a run to get back in the mix, you know. So it's exciting, you know, just to have another well-known brand back in the scheme of things, and looking forward to what they've got to offer here in the future, you know. So again, you guys, this is the Nokia 6. I'm your man, Pristine. Definitely stay blessed, stay safe, get your lives right with God, get spiritually fit. It's never too late. He's always ready to start over. We're definitely living in the last days. If you don't believe me, turn on the news. You know what I'm saying? Turn on the news, man. It's a constant reminder of how close we are to being raptured, you know. So, you know, stay pristine, y'all. Until the next video. I'll holla. Peace. Nokia 6, y'all.